Welcome to the second lecture. Today we're going to be talking about HTML DOM, or Document Object Model, which defines the structure of the web page. From the previous analogy between a house and a web page, we can see that a house can be made out of floors, and the floors can be made out of rooms and other things, and each of these can have other things inside. The document or the HTML document can have something similar. It can be made of containers or container divisions, and these can contain other things like paragraphs or images or tables, or can contain other divisions which contain other items. And this structure is reflected in these tags that we see to the right. These tags is actually what the browser understands so that it will display to us the appearance of the web page that we see on the screen. This course is mainly for non-technical people, so I wouldn't assume that you understand what these tags mean. These tags are actually what describe the structure of the web page. So it starts with an opening tag, with an HTML opening tag, and closes with an HTML closing tag to describe that everything inside is in this HTML document. And there can be the first part of the document is the header, which can include other information about the document, such as the title. And the second part of the document is the body, which contains all the items that we see on the screen. So the body here is what contains these divisions, which are structured in this way, that this division contains this paragraph and this image and this table, and this division contains this paragraph and this form and this division, which contains another button. So we can see it here from the tags, because we have here an opening tag with this division, that's division 1, and this is the closing tag associated with it. It contains this paragraph, which is called para1, and it contains also an image, and it also contains a table. The second division contains another paragraph, and it contains a form, and it contains a third division, which starts here and closes here, and it contains a button, and this is the closing tag for the second division. And then you have the closing tag for the whole body, and this is all the system of tags that are there in this document. So this is the set of tags that we have here that the browser can understand, and here is what the browser displays on the screen. So this is the paragraph 1, and this is the image, and this is the table, and this is the form, and this is the button. Actually, you can have a good exercise to understand more about the tags and the appearance by going to any web page and right-click and see View Source, which would show you everything that is underlying this web page. Going further into this DOM structure, we'll find that we have this window object, which has a document object coming out of it, and this document object can have other nodes or items, and each node has other nodes coming out of it. And if you think about it this way, then for a node like this, which is a paragraph node, you can find that it's coming from this node, which is called its parent, and these nodes coming out of it will be its children, and these ones on the same level, they would be called siblings. So now let's take it further and go into action. So let's try now to create an HTML page. First thing is we need to get our server running. So we go to XAMPP and open this application. Okay. And now we go to manage servers and run our Apache server. Now it's starting. So let's go to our text editor and open a new file, and we open this HTML tag, HTML, and say this is a test, and save it in the same app directory. So we go to applications, XAMPP, htdocs, app, and create a new file, and we'll call it test.html. So we go save it, and when we open the browser now and go to localhost and then write app test.html, you'll find that this is the file that we've just created. So let's add some more stuff to it. For example, we can say this is body, and this is closing tag of the body, and then we can add div with an ID called div1, and we close it. And we can put paragraph, para1, and say hello, para1, and then we close it, and then another paragraph, for example, para2, para2. Let's see how it appears now. Let's refresh. Hello paragraph 1, hello paragraph 2. Very good. So let's add some more to it. Let's, for example, add a button, and call it the button 1. And then when you click this button, something happens. So you can say alert hello. Button, and close it. So let's see how it appears now. Now this is a button. When you click it, it says hello. That's good. So now you're starting to actually build a web page with different functionalities. But now let me try to explain something that is not usually taken into consideration, which is something called the console, which you can get to it from here and go to more tools, developer tools. It will open this window down there, which has different things. But what we are interested in is just this part, which is the console. So let's try to do something now. Let's try to figure out the paragraph, which is called paragraph 1, and get it as an object. We'll go into this in more details in the JavaScript lecture coming up, but for now let's just try to see how can you find it. For this you can use a command called document dot get element by ID. So you try to get this element by ID, and what was the ID here? It was para1. So we'll call it something like element, and say element is equal to this element that has the ID of para1. Good. This element can have many properties. For now, let's try to explore some of them. So this element dot inner HTML, inner HTML, which is everything that is enclosed between these two tags. That's the opening tag, that's the closing tag. Now it's hello para1. So let's try to play with it a little bit. Element.innerHTML, say no, that's a different text for para1. See, now you can actually manipulate it, because you know that this is the element that is part of this document, and when you go to the document and get the element with this ID, you can actually have an object for that, and this object you can play around with it as much as you want. You can do other things for it. For example, element dot style and then dot color, and say, for example, green. Now it's green. Make it red. Anything you like. You can even make the background color you can make it another something, which can be, for example, yellow. You see? And you can play with the other things like style dot position. Oops. You can make it absolute, and we'll know why in a minute. Absolute. And you can actually play with its position in the screen. So, for example, give it 200 pixels from the top. Now it's 200 pixels from the top. You can also say it's 200 pixels also from the left. Now you can play with it freely in whatever way you like. And you can also do something else, which is element.parent. Now you can actually play with the parent of this element, which is, for example, let's say call it parent, which is element.parent element. And we can say that parent.style.color equal to magenta. So everything from the top is colored with magenta. So the parent node is now has a color magenta. And you can add other things that you like. For example, you can hide something. For example, you can go to element.hidden is equal to true, and now it's hidden. So the idea is that once you have the structure of the web page, you have all the elements, and each element has an ID as much as possible, you can play around with it as much as you can. So I will be giving a quick exercise in an additional document to practice more with this. Thank you so much, and onward to the next lecture.